June 16, Beaufort County Airports.
Bang your
Are
gavel.
we ready? All right, that's what we need. Now that gets my attention.
I'm
Thank
the
you.
only female in the room, but I'm the only female with a gavel. Okay.
Excuse me, Ian, can we switch?
By the way, you're not the only female in the room.
Tom.
Like to call to order the Thursday, June 16, Beaufort County Airports Board meeting. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, per FOIA, this is public notification of this meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in compliance with the South Carolina Freedom of Information Act. I believe we have a quorum. Thank you, Brian and Ann up there on Zoom for joining us. We need a motion for the approval of the agenda first.
So moved.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next I need a motion for approval of our minutes of May 19th, 2022.
So moved.
Second. There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anyone here for public comment? If not, we will move on to the director's report.
How are you? Good. Good to see you.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to the June board meeting. Thanks, Ann and Brian, for joining us remotely. Leslie, you're doing a great job so far as manager. Take a deep breath. Everything's going to be great. We'll get you out of here to your next meeting. Don't worry.
Thank you.
All right. So I've got a quick little presentation, so we'll go ahead and share the screen. That way our remote watchers can see this. And should be popping up. All right, director's report should be up on your screen now, so we'll pop through there. This is the airplane that I think you need to buy me as a staff vehicle, so I just want to show you that first. It's only about 65 million, so we should be able to save up for that quickly. All right, let's see if this will advance. Of course not.
So it's working on the touch.
I know Scott made it work. I don't know what he did. Aha. All right, so come on, there we go. First, an introduction to Rocio Rexroad, our brand new admin specialist.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. So you see a lot more of Rocio, and when you call the airport, you'll probably talk to her. And if you need to schedule things, you'll talk to her and coordinate with her. So she'll be getting me in line. No one's been able to do that yet, so she's got a heavy load. But no, we're super glad to have her on board now. Rocio comes to us actually from another county department. She started with the county really just a few weeks ago, and we were able to attract her over to the airport, find a great fit for her. But she comes prior to that from the town of Bluffton. So she spent about 8 years, I believe, with the town of Bluffton in the planning department and public works department. So she's got great municipal experience, which is a huge benefit to us. So welcome. It's great to have you. So this is her first meeting. So she is just totally being baptized by fire. So welcome aboard. This is the way we do things. So it's great. Glad to have you. Okay, over at Hilton Head, we're just finishing up some remarking of taxiway alpha, and this is in advance of our Part 139 inspection, which will happen in August. These were just a recommendation from last year's inspection saying, hey, if these are they fade out rather quickly being out there in the direct sunlight all the time. So we remarked these, but just a couple pictures to show you what's going on over there. It's a big operation. If anybody's been trying to fly out of there from, either side of the airport, you've had to deal with the NOTAMs of us, closing taxiways and stub taxiways for partial days so that we get the removal done and then the repainting done. So this is kind of what nice, fresh, sharp markings, and that'll help us on the Part 139 inspection. Let's see. And this is a quick little video, so you can, what I want you to look for here is the guy who's painting, obviously, is using the stencil to paint everything per regulation. But then once you see the guy who's standing up there, because what he's doing is, now keep in mind, these guys are painting that it's 100 degrees ambient temperature out there, so that asphalt is probably 130. So that paint is drying almost as soon as it comes out of the paint gun. So the guy who's standing there in the white shirt is putting the glass beads in, because these have to be reflective, and it has to pass. We have to pass a day and night inspection with the FAA. So watch how fast this guy's got to throw those beads down. I thought it was fun. It's all very scientific.
Yeah, that disbursement method I really like.
Isn't it great? And then he gets coached. See, he missed a corner.
I wonder if he rents out for weddings too.
But he's good. You have to change the angle of throw for the weddings.
get the right
So
shot.
I'm not sure. He's pretty well schooled here, but it shows you that they really have to pay attention to that. And it's, again, it's not super scientific, but you've got to get those glass beads down really quickly so they'll adhere to the paint.
Looks like he's got an ambassador.
So anyway, that's the markings out there at Hilton Head. And we also had the markings done on the new commercial ramp expansion. So you can see that. You can see we have a commercial jet out there already. We're coordinating with the tower on how best to use that, because as you can imagine, you open up a few acres of taxi or of apron, and all the airlines are ready to put their tent up out there and have their own territory. So we're coordinating with the tower. That was actually an airplane. I wasn't expecting to see it there this morning, but it actually arrived early. Airline schedules are crazy this year. That airplane actually came in empty this morning. I have no idea why, but we had two come in like that over the last couple of days. So the networks are insane with just schedules, pilot shortages. You may have heard about air traffic control shortages as well due to some of the things that are happening on the federal level. It's a little bit messy out there on the commercial side. So anyway, we've got a nice ramp with fresh paint, so we're happy. Okay, so that's that. Let's see, and then just a couple of briefs. I don't really have any great photos from ARW, so maybe we'll do that next month if we have some good ones to show there. But just updates for you out at both airports. First, items that you voted on at the last meeting, I want to give you an update of where they are in the pipeline. The purchase of 3600 Road has to be an ordinance since it's a purchase of property by the county. So passed first reading this week, and it should be through the pipeline in early July. I think it'll be the 11th, if I'm not mistaken, is when that meeting is. So we'll have that all finished up relatively soon. The next item you voted for last month was the approval to apply for funds from state Aeronautics, and that's for that second phase of the terminal renovation project that we talked about at Beaufort Executive. So we still, just for this fiscal year, have to have approval to apply for a grant. Coming the 1st of July will be in the new fiscal year, and that will be built into the budget ordinance, so we don't have to ask for permission to apply, just permission to accept a grant. And then we are going to do, you'll get a little invite on this one, but I wanted to tease you, we are going to do a little logo reveal in the terminal on the 30th. So the morning of the 30th, kind of a low-key event, but we want to do it in the terminal and just kind of show people what that logo is going to look like, and also kind of take the opportunity to show some of the renderings of what that new terminal will look like as well. So just a small low-key event, but we are going to go ahead and launch that logo and then start working on getting the branding out as well. So you'll start to see the new logo and branding, colors, that kind of thing throughout all of our business cards, letterheads, ads that we do in and out of market. So you'll see that hitting everything in the beginning of the fiscal year. ARF truck, we got notified that a couple of our crew will go up to Oshkosh and can basically help conduct the final inspection of that truck up there. It's in the assembly line, it's being worked on, and it's supposed to be finished up in July. So we don't have an actual delivery date for down here yet, but we'll have some folks go up and do that final inspection. So that's good. That's moving along well. We've had a couple of progress photos, and it's exciting to have a brand new vehicle coming to the airport. And that one, if you remember, that one was 100% funded by the FAA. It's usually a 90% deal. But as part of the COVID relief packages, that was 100% grant, so we had that thing 100% funded by the FAA. The apron project was also 100% funded by the FAA.
I take it they're going to deliver that on a flatbed and you're not driving it back.
Oh my goodness. That would be a long, slow drive. So yes, that will be delivered in some way other than on its own wheels rolling down the highway. Yep, I wouldn't want to be behind that one.
Yeah.
And then just quick update on marketing. I did this because Howard's not here. I'm just kidding, Howard. After the first of the fiscal year, so July 1st, we'll kind of renew that marketing push. We have to be a little bit conscientious of the budget years on that and the cycles. So we'll have some billboards, new billboards going up this season. So we'll have one on I-95. We've had one before that was kind of between exit 5 and exit 8. So we're going to move. There's one a little bit closer to exit 8. So we're going to get that one. So we'll run that for a number of months and remind people who flew into Savannah and fought a bunch of traffic and rented their car and spent lots of money that they could have flown directly to the island. So next time. And then we'll also be back on that digital board that you see on 170 as you're heading from north to south county and vice versa. There's a ton of cars that go through there every day. Leslie was telling me how long it took her to get up here today. So there's a lot of people who will see those ads on the billboards. So that works out really well. That's a very cost-effective method of doing it as well because, number one, it cycles, and when visual, video type displays cycle, people are more apt to see it than if it's a static display. And it's cost effective and great exposure there. So that's a good one. I think we'll try to keep that one rolling as much as we can. And then the surge menu guide that came out, if anybody's seen that or received that, we've got a full page ad in that menu guide. We did that last year as well. And that's, I guessed at 170,000. It might be north of that, but the surge group is right across the street from us. So it works out really well to work with those folks. And anybody who knows Hilton Head, you've hit a surge restaurant. I was there at one on Tuesday. So great products, and a lot of people put their eyeballs in those menu guides. So we're doing a little bit of the local work right there in the menu guide. And then in the inbound market, or the folks far outside of our home area, we work through Expedia and Sojourn, and we do those online. I call them intelligent campaigns because those are the campaigns that stalk you. So if you're on Facebook or if you're looking to travel somewhere, we're going to start peppering you with fly direct to Hilton Head Island ads. So if you can't get away from us, I apologize, but I don't apologize because we want you to fly directly to the island. Any questions on all that? Sure, Jim.
Too, John. Do we have media planned for the logo reveal? And when the new fire truck arrives, are you going to do a media event then?
Probably not for the fire truck, but we do have a media event, or we'll put out notices to the media for the logo reveal. Yep. Okay. And maybe we'll do something for the fire truck. I mean, we do have training exercises and that, so we'll be able to show it that way, but it's a good idea. Maybe we ought to do something with the fire truck.
Well, I'm thinking the fact that there's no local cost involved could be a small part of that, and reemphasize that everything going on at the airport is not coming out of the local taxpayers' pockets.
Right. And, to your point, local taxpayers' pockets, I'll emphasize again, since you opened the door, that the airports did not receive appropriations from any local taxes. And I like to tell folks that. I just had to tell another tenant that the other day and remind them that the airports do not get appropriations. So if you're a taxpayer, the only way you pay for the airport is if you use the airport. So your tax monies don't pay for the airport. It's strictly a user-based system, the way all the aviation system is built. So it is a user-based system. If you don't use it, you're not paying for it. So that's a good thing. Jim, I thought you were going to ask to be the first one to drive the truck. I was getting ready to say no. But
is it a stick shift or automatic?
We get you a ride. I mean, we could probably do that. But, you do bring up a good point, and maybe we'll plan something around that, because there's something about a fire truck that people like, and then one that's associated with an airport. It's a little bit different looking fire truck. So that might be exciting. I think maybe we'll try to put
my marketing mind says we have a plane and have an arc of water shooting over it. Kind of a good visual.
Pilot or not?
Say what?
Should we tell the pilot or not?
Doesn't matter.
You're right, it doesn't matter, because if you remember back to when American came in with their first airplane, they'd been briefed and their flight crew forgot that we were going to do the water cannons over top, and it kind of scared them a little bit, but that's okay. But yeah, we'll figure something out. I see Brian has a question from remote.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I got a question about going back to the airport marking painting job for a minute. Before the new painting on taxiway Alpha was done a week ago, by far and away, the most faded runway markings were the ones on the runway themselves rather than the taxiway. So can you walk us through how the decision was made to do the taxiway as opposed to the runway?
Yes, that was FAA driven.
Okay. Because you said also glass beads are required to be in the paint so that they can be seen at night. I don't know if you're aware of it or if the FAA is aware of it, but when you land on our runway at night right now, the markings that direct you off the runway to taxiways Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, or Alpha 5 are so faded you can't see them at night.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. And we'll look. I know that the stub taxiways, I believe, were painted too. So I think that'll have been improved with this project.
They were, but those lines did not come out to the runway itself.
Okay, so the actual lead-in lines on the runway?
They need to be done, yes.
Okay, we'll take a look at that and see. But we have another inspection coming up in August, so we'll check on that.
And I guess just asking to piggyback off of the question that Brian asked, I'm assuming we just kind of, or not we, but you set up kind of a reserve constantly because we know this is one of those maintenance items. We know it's going to come up over X number of years all the time. So I'm assuming we set up a reserve for that so we're ready.
Right, that's what we're working on. I'll tell you that this is the first time we've had to redo the markings because it's a combination of the environment, but also the use.
Yeah, traffic.
I mean, the traffic that's rolling over those markings has increased so much in the last few years that it has become an issue. Never before. I've gone through 8 inspections, and this is the first time we had a comment on one of those. So, and those were relatively new markings. We did that taxiway in 2017. So in 4.5 years, they're ready to be replaced. And we hadn't had that in the first 6.5 years that I've been here. So it's a matter of traffic, probably more so than the environment.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, that concludes my report.
All righty.
You can unshare the screen now and get back to normal business.
Do we go on to new business now? Is that the action items come under new business? That's next on the agenda.
Okay, I'm not sitting here with an agenda in front of me, so prompt me on what the first one.
New business is next, and I assume the action items. are
Unfinished
coming.
business and new business.
Okay, so can you read that off to me? Because I don't have an agenda in front of me.
The action items, each one
Just
of
tell me
them.
the first one, and then I'll
All right,
explain to
number
you what
10
it
is the Hilton Head Island Airport TBE Work Authorization 22-01 Property Acquisition at Exec Air.
Right, okay, so that is work authorization for Talbot Brighton Ellington to do just a property acquisition for there's a very small sliver of property that is actually owned by Exec Air, which is the through the fence operation at the north end of the airport. And that piece of property, I guess de facto became operational airport property when we did the taxiway project a few years ago. So what that means is what used to be just a strip of grass that was not used for anything but could be maintained, mowed by Exec Air while still in their legal possession and ownership, really can't be maintained by them because it's on the active airfield now. So I've met with Exec Air and we looked at that and said, yes, we need to purchase that from Exec Air. So that's what this work authorization does. It's a normal package where we'll go through and obtain an appraisal, a review appraisal, and then negotiate with Exec Air and work with the FAA to go ahead and purchase that property so that the airport who currently maintains the signs and the lights that are in that property will actually own that property. So we're catching up with what we really should have done a couple years ago.
And that based on the information you gave us in the packet, that is, those numbers you gave us are after the appraisal and the.
No, that's the consulting. That's to do what we're saying. That's to shepherd us through that project. That's a not to exceed number to shepherd us through the acquisition process. So we haven't had any appraisals done yet.
Okay.
John,
We'll need a motion and a vote on that.
Any other discussion on this?
question, is there any functional use for us other than securing the airport?
Any functional use? We've got
Of that strip of
lights,
ground.
We've got nav aids and
Yeah.
we've got drainage and signage in there.
On that, okay, thank you.
Yes,
And it probably aligns liability correctly now too.
correct.
Is it not plausible to do just a quick claims deed on, from
You know,
the,
I don't know. I'll have to ask that. I'm not really sure how that works in the FAA process, but good question. We'll look into that and see. I don't think the property owners would want to do that.
well, I understand why they wouldn't, yes. I just don't know what functional use could they possibly have with it.
There isn't. There is none to them.
But it's theirs.
Just
Well,
an
I
income source.
understand and respect property rights in the state of South Carolina. Absolutely.
John, do you know how much money actually is going to them out of this amount? Are they getting,
No, like I said to Jim, this is only a consulting fee to get this. We don't know what the property is valued at.
okay, once it's valued, then we'll know
This
the
is
amount.
TDE's fees.
So
Correct.
that'll be in addition to the amount that's on here, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All righty, do I hear a motion for this vote?
I'll motion that we take a vote on it.
I'll give it a second.
All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Our next action item is the approval for Hilton Head Island Airport to apply for the Town of Hilton Head Island ATAX funds for marketing.
Right. This is, you know, we do this every year. We apply for ATAX funds for the marketing. But as part of that application package, you have to have something in the board minutes that have directed the airport to go ahead and apply for those. So this is where you do that.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. The third action item is grant acceptance of the SCAC grant, 22-011, $14,495 for Beaufort Executive Airport for RW 725 rehab design and bidding.
Right. And so what I'm going to do is propose you take 12 and 13 together because they're for the same item. But one is the FAA grant, one is the South Carolina Aeronautics Commission grant. And I'm going to tell you, I'm doing this a little bit ahead of time, okay? In order, like I said, in order to accept a grant, we have to get approval from you and then a council committee and then council to actually bring the grant in and be able to use that. The FAA has identified those funds. We're in the announcement that came out last week from the FAA, but we've not yet received the grant offer from the FAA. So this is a little bit cart in front of the horse, but I want to make sure that if we receive that grant in between meetings, that you have already approved accepting the grant and we can move on through the council pipeline. So both of these are related to the same thing. And again, it's the design and bidding phases. Again, a Talbot Brighton Ellington contract, design and bidding of that runway 725 rehab.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion for action items 12 and 13.
Well, excuse me,
Questions first.
I don't think we can do that unless we merge them. Am I correct, John, or do you want separate votes for each one?
No, you can take them together at your discretion.
Okay.
So that's a total, what is, tell me what it all entails on the runway? I'm assuming it's a repavement and is that what it is?
Yeah, but it's, yes. Yeah, so it'll strengthen it and improve any of the cracking in that's out there. So
Okay.
it'll be evaluated and then the design will be developed to basically extend that lifespan.
Yeah, so it'll be most likely a repavement then of it, correct, or not? Because
Yes.
for 200, okay. And then that'll be I guess as we get closer, we'd figure out how long the runway's gonna be down or if it's gonna be partially done at night. I'm assuming it's gonna have to be down
Oh, it is, yeah, it'll have
for
to
the
be.
entire time that's happening.
Right.
Okay.
And that is for the runway only, nothing to do with the taxiway extension.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? All right, so we're looking for a motion for the Beaufort Executive Airport grant acceptance for action items 12 and 13. Chris?
I'll do both.
right.
Since they're going together.
And
Nick-
who's second?
Nick seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Is that all you have? All right. We'll move on to committee reports if there are any. From the standpoint of Passenger Services Committee, just to thank everyone, our ambassador program at Hilton Head Island Airport is underway, and thank you all for participating, those of you that are. Haven't had any complaints. I think Steve said he hasn't heard any complaints yet, so I have noticed that the lines are significantly less than what they were this time last year, and we did expect that. So that's a good thing. That keeps the complaints down if the lines are down. So working so far, and we just want to keep it going. Thank you all. Any other committee reports?
ARW Improvement Committee, we met yesterday because we didn't want to wait till the last minute before the meeting. And we had so we talked about a couple of different things. We're nearly complete. Is it fair to say 90% complete on the refurbishment of the interior of ARW? And as Howard said last meeting, if you get a chance, please go in there and look, especially if you got to see it before. Before and after is pretty amazing. It looks top notch. We also talked about moving forward on the design, or John brought us up to speed, and Steve brought us up to speed on. They've been approved, and if I'm speaking out of turn on this, John, if I say anything wrong, just please let me know. But right now, we've been approved by the county for the funding for the design portion of it. It's not saying the funding's complete for new T hangers and possibly a smaller box hanger at the end, but the design part is the funds have been approved to go ahead and move forward on that. I also talked to what I will say is the head person for the community. I call it the community hangar, but it's a private funding of a big box hangar at roughly 35,000 square feet. And they're in the process now of putting the partners together. Part of the reason they're kind of dragging a little bit is steel prices went through the roof. They've got it now down to about $80 a square foot, but at one point it was over $100 a square foot. When you're talking about 35,000 square feet, that's quite a bit of money. Right now that project's looking like about $2.8 million for everything. So they're in the process of that. What they informed me of, and I didn't know this, so it'd be a little economics lesson. Apparently, the world uses 1.9 billion tons of steel a year. And out of that, China processes or makes 1.1 billion of it, and they shut down for 3 months during the Olympics. So I guess we didn't see the smokestacks during the Olympics. We saw the smokestacks, but without the smoke. So that was part of the reason why that steel went up. So they are moving forward. They're not out of the game at all. They're trying to put all the pieces together. So it's kind of like herding cats a little bit. But they've got a lot of it done. From the standpoint on the due diligence from they did the ground testing and everything, and all that went through fairly fine. So it's a matter of really just putting a contract together. I think getting the quotes where it's comfortable, having all the partners together, and then bringing a lease to the airport director John, and going from there and working out a solution. And that's pretty much it that I have.
May I ask a question on the project?
Yes.
There would be one group responsible for the financing or the building or the management, but there'd be multiple tenants.
Correct.
What kind, if any, liability issue does that create?
Well, it's the same. So if you think about it going in, if let me give you an example. I fly into Nashville and I say, hey, look, can you put me in a hangar? They have an insurance policy that covers it with those employees moving those planes to put them in and out. And the same thing would happen with the county, because I think what the plan is, and it's not set in stone. This is just, I think, talking back and forth between the two groups, is they're not going to provide the labor for this hangar. The county's going to provide that, but then on the flip side of that, the county's also going to get revenue from the leasing of that hangar overnight. And you got to remember that, just like John was just talking about, looking at a plane at $65 million. they want to take care of it, and they want it in a hangar. You know, if they get an opportunity. The interesting thing is you're not always guaranteed a hangar, and typically it's larger planes. Like if I go in, they may say, hey, look, it's first come, first serve. We don't know if we can put you in a hangar or not, or here's what it would be if you want to go in, and you say, yeah, I'll go ahead and put me in, and then typically I'll get a text or an email that says, hey, we had a space and we were able to put, because what they're really waiting for, they're waiting for a bigger plane to take up that same space that they can charge a lot more for. Yeah, it's not like a hotel room. You're kind of guaranteed to get it.
Get a suite instead
Yeah,
of a closet.
exactly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any additional committee reports?
I'd like to, on behalf of marketing, like to ask John if he could provide us an update at the next meeting on the TSA situation regarding bringing in the certification mobile team for things like known traveler numbers, et cetera.
I will commit to briefing you if I have the information. We've had multiple communications back and forth, but as of yet, there are no details. So if I can get it, then I'll be happy to brief you on it.
Thank you, John.
Sure. Moving at the speed of government here.
Any additional comments or updates? Okay, I neglect. Go ahead.
I'd like to commend the Beaufort Airport Association for hosting the Aviation Careers Fair Expo. I believe that was Saturday, June 4th, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And presenting sponsor for that, Lockheed Martin, a great corporate citizen and steward in our community. I think it was a fantastic opportunity for young people in this area to see the bevy of career opportunities that exist and training opportunities through TCL and others in our region for some great careers. So thanks to all involved in organizing that, and thanks to Lockheed Martin for sponsoring it.
May I second that? My wife and I attended, and I was very impressed with the variety of exhibitors and very happy to see the attendance numbers. I hope they were happy with them. And Gulfstream was maintaining a list of people who want to apply for jobs. So it was very active in that regard. And I think it was great to see the young kids out there taking on the responsibility of parking cars and all the rest of that legwork that has to be done. I think they did a heck of a job.
And I was listening to a news program coming over here, and they said the FAA numbers for the next, I think they said the next through 2030 was the need for commercial pilots at about 14,908 a year.
Yeah. Right up there with nurses, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Similar yet different, those two.
Yeah. I neglected to welcome Stu Rodman. We always enjoy having you here. If you have any comments. And also David Ames is with us, I see on Zoom. And I don't know about Glenn Stanford. I see his name, but I don't see his
I
picture.
didn't see David. Oh, he's online. Okay.
Well, if any of you have comments, we'll move to our public comment space on
I
the
did not today, but thank you for asking.
Nothing, Stu?
The only thing I would say to John, maybe he's already done this, but we cut back a little bit in the summer. So the items that are action items, if you don't have them on one of the agendas for Monday, you ought to do it so you don't lose a couple months. Thank you. And let me know if you can't get one.
Great. All righty, John, I guess we are ready to adjourn. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll do it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're done. I can make my.
Congratulations.